Welcome everyone to Coin New Yen Review channel. Before we dive into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover us. Enjoy the show. A beautiful colleague always rides home with me. If gone from a bicycle to an electric scooter and now to a car, he's always been on the path of hitching a ride. I snapped in frustration telling her she can't ride with me anymore. Otherwise, I'll never find a girlfriend. Or else it'll make her regret it. He asked, dumbfounded, what I meant by making him regret it. She introduced herself saying her name is Liu Ryan. I introduced myself saying my name is Hitching. At the company's new employee orientation, the female colleague beside me extended her hand. This was my first time meeting him. His hand felt soft. His eyes were large and bright. His smile was sweet, curving like a crescent moon. After work, I rode side by side with him through 3 streets. We passed for traffic lights. He turned right. I turned left. What a coincidence, she said we're neighbors. He pointed at the neighborhood across from my house. I nodded, thinking there are plenty of neighbors. I mentioned that Sister Wang and Sister Lee from the company live in her neighborhood too. He said he was hungry and would see me tomorrow. I replied, see you tomorrow. Hitching, can I ride home with you? He asked. He said his bike was too worn out. He wanted to ride my mountain bike home. I told him to take it to get fixed tomorrow. I glanced at his flat tire. I thought, well, it's fine. It's on my way anyway. I warned that my mountain bike's rear seat has no cushion. It might be uncomfortable. He laughed, saying he has enough padding. She smiled again. Her eyes curved into crescent moons. Since breaking up with my girlfriend of 8 years, this was the second time I brought a girl home. Starting the mountain bike with a passenger was heavy. I had to stand and pedal. He carefully held the edge of my shirt. We wobbled left and right before finally moving forward. Seeing my struggle, he asked if he was too heavy. I said he looked slim enough, but was surprisingly heavy, probably around 130 pounds. He quickly denied it, claiming he was only 90 pounds. I said 90 pounds was impossible. He must be at least 165 centimeters and 100 pounds. I recalled carrying 50-pound sacks of flour for my family as a kid. I'd haul 50 pounds at a time. He was like to sacks of flour. My words seemed to choke him. He fell silent. On the 3rd day, he came to me again. I said the repair shop outside the company didn't fix his tire properly. Could he ride home with me again? I was busy calculating report data. I agreed without looking up. He was thrilled, sweetly saying see you after work for Christmas. After work, the data in my report kept coming up wrong. I left a bit late. He was waiting for me at the bike shed, holding a white bear plush toy. It was the white bear from that cartoon. He waved it at me. Smiling, he said he brought his own cushion. I patted the rear seat. He placed the white bear down and hopped on. I might have forgotten I was carrying someone. When I got on the bike, I accidentally knocked him to the ground with a sweeping kick. I realized my mistake. I quickly helped him up, apologizing profusely. I forgot there was someone behind me. He looked a bit aggrieved. His hand was scraped. I pleaded with him not to cry. My ex-girlfriend used to cry all the time. Her tears were like a dam breaking. Even Nua couldn't stop them. He blew on his wound, assuring me he wouldn't cry. I said, all right, princess, please get back on. I felt a pang of guilt, trying to lighten the mood. On the way home, Ryan asked if my ex-girlfriend really cried that much. I told her to drop it. She cried when she was sad. She cried when she was upset. She even cried when she was happy. I paused for a moment, swallowing back a curse. I continued, shed cry even when the road was bumpy. I said you roar when you see injustice on the road, and the road becomes smooth after your roar. He giggled from the back, then said my ex-girlfriend sounded adorable. I snapped adorable my foot. I paused again. Since I wasn't that close with Ryan yet, it wasn't right to swear. I swallowed the curse word, continuing adorable my ass. She asked, annoyed as I was, why did we break up? Ryan was curious, wasn't it because of him? I sighed. I didn't continue the conversation. I thought since we're done, I shouldn't badmouth my ex. Seeing me go quiet, Ryan softly apologized. When we reached his neighborhood entrance, I noticed his hand was a bit swollen, probably from the fall. He wouldn't be able to ride for a while. I said since his hand was injured because of me, I'd take him to and from work for the next few days. He looked at me seemingly delighted. Nodding, he said it'd be too much trouble for me. I said trouble my ass. Riding with a passenger strengthens my legs. Especially at the start, it takes a lot of explosive power. My thighs have gotten noticeably thicker. My son at the gym asked if I was secretly doping or sneaking his protein powder. I said only fools rely on tech. I rely on the girl in the back seat. He gave a sly grin, showing he totally got it. I ignored him. My son could never understand his adoptive father's struggles. After a while, I realized riding with a passenger was exhausting. Who trains their legs during the morning commute? I switched to an electric scooter. Ryan was thrilled, saying her white bear cushion could finally rest, or else her dog at home would keep making a fuss. The electric scooter was indeed fast and very convenient. Start and stop at will. I used to ride a bicycle to burn calories for my reputation. I insisted on cycling to work. Now, I think I was an idiot. The electric scooter is the real deal. After work, Ryan pulled a helmet from her bag and handed it to me. I took it. It was a white helmet with a Pikachu shooting lightning on it. It was very cute. I said no way. Real men don't wear helmets. Besides, it'd look silly. People would think I'm scared of crashing. He suddenly furrowed his brow. It was the first time I saw him frown. Fine lines creased his forehead. He said real men always protect themselves, not challenge danger. That line sounded familiar, like I'd heard it somewhere before. I asked who said it. He answered Ash said it. He replied with a straight face. I was puzzled. I thought for a long time. I couldn't recall that line from Pokemon. He laughed again, his eyes curving into crescents. He pulled out a helmet with Ash pattern from his bag, put it on and hopped onto the back seat. He gently tugged my shirt, making a takeoff gesture saying go Pikachu. 10,000 volts. Ryan's hand had long healed, but he got addicted to riding with me, waiting for me in the morning, lingering for me after work. At first had messaged me calling him at the usual spot by the office, later just usual spot. Eventually I started to get annoyed. Always hitching. Doesn't he have his own ride? If I hadn't joined this company, would he not be able to get to work or get home? The most frustrating thing was, even the company thought we were dating, though I strongly denied it, explaining it was just on the way. His house is right across from my neighborhood, but the department's big sister gave me an anti-smile saying, is that so? I live in the same neighborhood as Ryan. Why doesn't he ride with me? I said maybe he's not that close with you. She said exactly. He rides with you because he's close with you. I didn't respond. Big sister said she's been around the block. She could see things clearly. She even praised Ryan for being pretty and having a great personality, saying him close to the water and should seize the chance. Don't let someone else snatch her away. I grumbled that if someone takes her, so be it. Big sister poked my forehead annoyed, saying I was talking nonsense. During the company's team building games, they naturally paired me with Ryan. The game was simple, just a 3-legged race. The prize was a new smart watch. Ryan was super excited, saying we had to win that watch. I laughed at his childishness. He insisted it was a competition and asked me to take it seriously. He naturally looped an arm around my waist. I hesitated, but still put my arm around his shoulder. He adjusted his position lightly, taking deep breaths to sync our rhythm, whispering, come on. I smiled, thinking he was even more childish. Did a race really matter that much? He looked up at me, frowning slightly, saying it did matter. The horn sounded. The race began. Ryan shouted left foot, right foot. We quickly dashed toward the finish line. I found we had great chemistry. Our pace and breathing were perfectly in sync, like the front and back wheels of my scooter. No surprise! After a few rounds, we actually won, leaving several veteran couples far behind. He jumped around excitedly with the prize, pulling me for a photo to post on social media, captioning it "Wow, new smart watch," thanking my teammate. He urged me to post it too. I didn't, feeling it was childish and annoying. During a break, I drank water under the shade. Across from me, female colleagues surrounded Ryan chattering. Ryan occasionally glanced back at me. The colleagues also sneakily looked my way. I wasn't sure what I felt for Ryan. Maybe I felt nothing at all. If he hadn't gotten hurt, I wouldn't be taking him to and from work. At that moment, Yang Xiaowei quietly approached me. He's the company's notorious playboy. Rich as hell, always parking his fancy car at the company entrance. Our boss thought it was too flashy, told him not to be so ostentatious, or at least park outside. His EQ was abysmally low. He didn't get it. The next day, he switched to an A6, sheepishly saying it was his family's grocery car. Our boss' car was the real deal A6. Seeing he wouldn't budge, security blacklisted his license plate. He asked Kong, "What you been up to lately?" His tone was a bit too friendly bussy with random stuff. I never liked that guy. He said he had something to discuss. I told him to spit it out. He smiled unfazed, saying he was going to pursue Ryan. Had liked him for a long time. He was formally letting me know, bro. His grin was wicked, reminding me of a TV villain. I choked on my water, telling him to go for it. He was thrilled, patting my shoulder saying I was a real stand-up guy. I wanted to keep my distance from Ryan. I was fed up with this messy entanglement, but Ryan didn't seem to get it. Why I was avoiding him these days. After work, he still said he'd wait for me at the company entrance. I lost it asking why he kept following me, always sticking to me. Where was my personal space? Ryan stood there, mouth agape stunned, for a long time. With a dejected expression, he said sorry. I snorted coldly, muttering to myself that he was crazy. I felt an immense relief, like I'd shed a burden. Meanwhile, Yang Xiaowei started pursuing Ryan. His pursuit was bold and direct, waiting for him after work, sending flowers every few days, or just buying him a bag. Ryan, get in, I'll drive you home, he'd say. He'd grin cheekily, but Ryan ignored him, walking straight to the entrance. Yang Xiaowei wasn't fazed. He'd drive slowly behind him, every day like a thug, blocking Ryan at his office door, asking if he needed a ride home. Ryan always rejected him with disdain, but Yang Xiaowei followed like a shameless dog. I watched, finding it amusing. Sometimes after work, I'd pretend not to see, but the department's big sister got anxious, asking if I'd fought with Ryan. I told her not to overthink it. We were just casual friends. She looked at me with a knowing expression, saying, "Don't let Yang Xiaowei, that idiot, steal your peach." I grumbled, "Let him steal it." She glared, saying I was the real idiot. During that time, I got obsessed with motorcycles. Movies like Torque and The World's Fastest Indian deeply moved me, igniting my passion for life in an instant. I couldn't afford an Indian motorcycle, nor did I have time to travel the world, so I settled for a Kawasaki. The moment I rode it, it felt like touching my soul. My youth was reignited. Every day I roared to and from work. On weekends, I joined like-minded riders for long-distance trips. I met a lot of friends. They had all sorts of jobs. Some were riders by day, others rode after work, and some caught riders by day, but rode after work. Some even hoped to ride by day and rode after work. But as time passed, I felt an emptiness. Not because the back seat was empty, nor because I envied their partners as windshields, but because I felt I'd been too harsh yelling at Ryan that day. I wasn't like that before, but that day I couldn't control myself. Sometimes I'd pass by Ryan, pretending it was accidental, wanting to apologize, but he seemed to look right through me, brushing past without a glance, and getting into Yang Xiaowei's car. Yang Xiaowei would poke his head out the window, smirking triumphantly at me. In that moment, my heart sank like an electric shock. During the new year, I noticed the company's bulletin board had new posters. One was a photo of Ryan and me from team building. He was holding the prize, happy like a kid, while I looked unimpressed. I stared at the photo for a long time, took out my phone and thought for a long time, then sent Ryan a Happy New Year message. After a long time, he replied, "Thanks. Happy New Year to you too." As I rode home, I suddenly realized why I felt so empty. Before, when Ryan sat behind me, head chatter nonstop, always sharing something new with me. I'd just listen, occasionally responding. Kong, I made a fool of myself today. I raced Ming Ming to the cafeteria and ended up crashing into the boss at a turn. Kong, I messed up today. I forgot to notify the boss about a headquarters meeting and got chewed out. It's his fault for saying whoever wants to go can go, and he didn't want to, so I took it literally. He can't let me take you to eat hot pot. He can't, look, that shop just opened. He can't. By chance, I discovered Yang Xiaowei had another girlfriend. I followed him to a hot pot restaurant. His girlfriend was holding a bag, coquettishly asking, "Aren't you chasing Ryan from your company? How do you have time for me?" Yang Xiaowei fixed his hair, scoffing that Ryan was untouchable, like she was gold-plated or something. I thought so. He came to me after failing with her. Some women are just fake pure. But don't worry, babe. I'm just playing with him. I'm serious with you. The two kept bad-mouthing Ryan, spreading rumors. I was fuming in the next booth, stormed over and grabbed his collar. Yang Xiaowei looked at me terrified, asking what I wanted. I growled at him. If he ever harassed Liu Ryan again, I'd dunk his head in the hot pot next time. He was scared, staring at the bubbling red oil, quickly saying he wouldn't dare again. Yang Xiaowei said he wouldn't dare, but rumors started spreading in the company that Ryan was cozying up to Yang Xiaowei for a bag. One night I was called back to the office to work late. It was 10 p.m. when I finished. As I left, I saw Ryan waiting for a ride at the entrance. I didn't want to apologize for yelling at him last time. Just as I was about to speak, a bright headlight shone on us. "Ryan, get in, you'll take you home." Yang Xiaowei leaned half his body out the window, his expression dripping with provocation. "Oh, he Kyung's here too. Sorry, man. I can't take you home. I've got to spend time with Ryan in the car." He made a clapping gesture with his hands. Ryan's face flushed a deep red. In that moment, it was as if a fuse had been lit, tied to that punk's body. I stepped forward slowly, gripped the car door with deliberate calm, and yanked him by the hair. He shouted in surprise, "Hey, let go, I just got my hair done." I ignored his protests, dragging him out of the car by his hair. I growled fiercely, reminding him of my warning. If he dared harass Ryan again, I'd shove his head into a hot pot. He suddenly remembered, but for the sake of his pride, he said I wouldn't dare. I laughed and started dragging him toward the hot pot restaurant across the street. He knew my temperament. I always keep my word. He quickly begged for mercy. After Yang Xiaowei fled in fear, I glanced at Ryan still standing there. "It's late," I said. "Let me take you home." He tilted his head slightly, looking at me as if I were a stranger. Then I saw that familiar smile again. His eyes curved into crescent moons. He said sweetly, "Sure." I handed him a helmet and put it on for him, then taught him how to sit on the back seat so he wouldn't crash into me when I braked. "Put your hands here," I instructed, patting my waist. "Like this," he asked softly. "Don't grab my neck. You'll choke me to death. Hold my waist instead. Or fine, grip the fuel tank." He lightly held the fuel tank, his body pressed close. I adjusted his helmet with a nudge. "Keep your helmet offset from mine. Rested on my left shoulder, that'll do." I taught him step by step. He learned quickly. "You ready?" I asked. "We're about to go," I shouted as the motorcycle started slowly. His body lurched back from the momentum, letting out a sharp scream. His hands tightly gripped my waist. I realized he was a perfect windshield, whether accelerating or braking, even during sharp turns. His posture matched mine flawlessly. I rode with him from the north side to the south side of the city. The wind roared past. He shouted in excitement. My heart pounded wildly. At the entrance to his neighborhood, I took off his helmet for him. His face was flushed, maybe from the cold or the thrill. He thanked me shyly for taking him out tonight. I said no big deal, scratching the back of my head through the helmet. "See you tomorrow," I said. Ryan waved at me saying see you tomorrow. As he turned to leave, I suddenly remembered something. I called out to stop him, "Hey Ryan, what's up?" He turned back to look at me. I coughed lightly, apologizing for yelling at him that day. He said generously that had already forgotten. We stood in silence for a moment. Just as he was about to leave, I called out again, "Ryan." "What now?" he asked. His eyes sparkled with some kind of expectation. "Did you just step on the exhaust pipe?" I asked. "Your shoe sole looks melted." I pointed at his shoe. He looked down and let out a scream. When I got home, I noticed a Pikachu sticker on my helmet. I took Ryan to get her motorcycle license, helped her pick out a used Chunfeng bike. With our rider friends, we rode to so many places, saw snow-capped mountains and deserts. He was truly talented, picking it up right away, mastering U-turns without any guidance. But I couldn't help playing the teacher, reminding him while riding, "Ryan, tie up your hair. Don't you think it looks messy like that?" The next day he complained tearfully. The wind tangled his hair so badly, it took half an hour to comb out. "Ryan, when you're at a red light, put the kickstand down, then sit on the back seat." He bragged that his long legs could reach the ground, but in the summer he whined that the front seat was too hot. The riding gear wasn't breathable. He'd bring a pair of shorts to fan himself. At red lights he'd unzip and fan, then tuck them under his butt. I told him that was a serious violation. His butt wasn't in contact with the seat. He could easily slide off during turns. When he rode too fast, I'd call him out. He asked how fast his bike could go. I said 199 kilometers per hour. He gasped in awe, excited to try it out. I rolled my eyes saying 199 or 99 is the same. He asked why. I said if you crash at either speed, you're done for. He pouted for a long time, tapping my helmet saying that was bad luck. I told him to ride at 60, knee pads and elbow guards, not one less. All for safety. He mimicked my arrow, saying real riders are brave. I said real bravery isn't challenging danger, it's protecting yourself. He thought it sounded familiar, asked who said it. I laughed saying it was Chief Labrador. Of course Ryan had her own strengths, which truly impressed me. At work she was like a plain village girl, but after hours she transformed into a biker chick. I asked Ryan, "What's your style today?" She twirled for me, showing off her slim waist, proudly saying youthful JK style. A few days later, I asked again, "What's today's style?" She twirled again, saying nightclub queen tipsy vibe. Days later she switched through more styles. One day she dressed oddly. I couldn't help asking what style it was. She grinned wickedly, saying LUONG style. Atop the mountain, Ryan and I gazed at the city's nightscape. The distant highways, returning traffic, formed a long red line, like the city's pulse beating. She asked why I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. I thought for a moment and told her the truth. I met my ex in high school. We went to different universities later, starting a long-distance relationship. Whenever I had time, I'd take a train to see her. The train tickets I saved up could pave a path from the office to my house, no exaggeration. After graduation, I moved to her city for work. We both looked forward to a new life, but she suddenly told me she was getting married. I was stunned, thought she was joking. She used to love joking, saying she had a new boyfriend. Then she showed me her marriage certificate. I was dumbfounded, but refused to believe it, frantically asking if she had a terminal illness. I'd sell my blood to cure her. She said, "Don't be silly, I'm healthy." In college, a guy kept chasing her and got her a great job. My ex actually liked him too. They secretly got married. Ryan sighed and asked what happened next. I smiled, saying life doesn't have that many nexts. Just pain, hatred, then acceptance, and finally wishing them happiness. Ryan apologized softly for reopening my wounds. I said it was fine. Once a scar heals, it becomes just a story. I asked how she broke up with her ex-boyfriend. She said her love life was simple. Maybe because her personality is the slow-to-warm-up type. They dated for a year and then broke up. The process was uneventful. "Kong, what do you think love is?" she asked suddenly. "Love," I mused. "It's probably passionate, unforgettable, blessed by everyone." "What about you?" I asked. "I think love is actually quite ordinary, at least for most people." She continued, "But since meeting you, it's like I've opened the door to a new world. I discovered I have a different side. You know, I'd never tried those outfits before, let alone riding a motorcycle to such far-off places. I was about to say it's all standard stuff when a warm, tingling sensation brushed my lips. Her flushed face pulled back from mine. She whispered thanks. On the ride home, Ryan clung tightly to my waist. Her soft body pressed against my back. Kung if decided, she said. I want to be your windshield for life. I laughed, shouting back, don't be silly. Windshields are consumables. She hugged my waist even tighter, saying no, I'm sticking with you. At that moment, an SUV barreled straight toward us. A deafening crash rang out. The massive impact echoed in my ears. In that instant, my body was thrown violently backward, tumbling several times before slamming into a flower bed. Ryan hit the ground hard too, rolling several times. Her helmet smashed against the curb. The motorcycle shattered into pieces, sparks flying as it skidded far away. I struggled to my feet, stumbling toward Ryan. She lay motionless. Ryan, are you okay? I shouted. Ryan, wake up. Don't scare me, I sobbed, leaning over her. The driver seemed to snap out of it, staggering out of his car. He glanced at his vehicle first, then at us in the distance, sobering up halfway in an instant. I charged at him, pounding his head with fist after fist. He tried scrambling back to his car, attempting to restart it and flee. I yanked him back down, outside the hospital's emergency room. I sat clutching my head, waiting for the red light to go off. The surgery was fairly successful, the doctor said. Luckily, we wore protective gear while riding, or it could have been worse. Ryan hadn't woken up on the hospital bed, her leg in a cast, the 4-drip beeping beside her. I moistened her lips with a cotton swab, terrified she wouldn't wake up, or worse, become a vegetable. Every bad thought flooded my mind. It felt like this was all my fault. I shouldn't have taken her home on the motorcycle that day. None of this would have happened. Maybe if she hadn't hitched a ride with me that first day, I should have refused. Or maybe I shouldn't have joined this company. Then she wouldn't have met me, and wouldn't be like this now. The more I thought, the more I regretted. Sobbing, I begged Ryan, please don't die. If you die, it'll be in pain forever. When Ryan woke up, I looked at her excitedly, crying, you're awake. Where am I? She asked. This is a hospital. Why am I in a hospital? She frowned, looking at me. Yesterday, we were in an accident, I said. She turned her head slightly, staring at me like a stranger. Accident? And who are you? I'm He Kong, I said. Don't you recognize me? He Kong, she murmured, trying to recall. Who's He Kong? She whispered. He Kong? I'm He Kong, your colleague. My mind buzzed. Unable to believe she'd lost her memory, I rushed to find the doctor. The doctor examined her and said she seemed normal for now, but would need to monitor her further. I pointed at my head frantically, saying she must have amnesia. She doesn't even remember who I am. The doctor said it might be temporary amnesia, told me to talk about our past, to help her recall slowly. After the doctor left, I returned to Ryan's bedside. She still looked at me like a stranger, asking again, who are you? I paused. I'm your colleague, I said. I started telling her our story. Do you remember, I asked? The first day at the onboarding meeting, you sat next to me. You reached out and introduced yourself. I mimicked how we met that day. She nodded, as if recalling or just listening to a story. Back then, after work, you said your tire was flat, so I started taking you home. Later, we switched to an electric scooter, and you were thrilled. You even gave me a Pikachu helmet. But one day I got annoyed. You kept sticking to me like a shadow. I yelled at you to stay away. I really regretted it. I should have spoken to you nicely. But when you stopped riding with me, I was actually relieved, thinking I'd finally shaken off that burden. You know, during that time that jerk Yang Xiaowei kept bothering you, I was pretty jealous, honestly. I even gave him a piece of my mind. Later, I taught you to ride a motorcycle. We took road trips to Inner Mongolia and Xinjiang. She seemed to remember something. Muttering Inner Mongolia, I lit up. Yes. You said Inner Mongolia was all grasslands. But why was the grass so messy? I told you those were desert shrubs. And the next day, you had an allergic reaction, struggling to breathe. Your face swelled up like a peach. Ryan smiled. But I remember someone always called me childish. I admitted I used to say she was annoying and childish, but also really cute. especially when you were in the back seat, chatting about everything under the sun. I realized you knew so much. Ryan asked if I liked her. I froze, nodding firmly, of course I do. She looked at me, still with that puzzled gaze. You've said so much. I get it now. But who are you really? I looked up at her. My mouth twitched as I said, I'm your boyfriend, your most loyal teammate. She burst out laughing, reaching out to gently wipe a tear from my eye. I snapped my head up, asking if she was faking amnesia. She giggled, saying I looked like I was in a dramatic redemption scene. Too bad she had no experience. She should have pretended to stay unconscious. After laughing, she winced, saying it hurt. The department's big sister came with gifts to visit us, saying the Hitchin driver had been caught, and they found other charges against him. He wouldn't be out anytime soon. But when the boss comes later, I'd better be careful. I'd probably get a scolding. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Big sister's face changed, saying she was never here, then slipped out quietly, crouching low. The boss is the boss. His walk carried authority, leading a pack of big and small leaders. Appearing at the ward's door, he scanned the room, looked at me, then at Ryan on the hospital bed. Ryan was crying her heart out, screaming in pain. He said. What am I supposed to say about you? We just launched an 8-hour safety campaign this morning, and you pull this stunt tonight. The boss started laying into me. I felt wronged. It was clearly someone else's drunk driving that hit us. But seeing Ryan wiping tears beside me, I sighed and said, sorry boss. It's all my fault. Well, be more careful from now on. The boss softened, told us to focus on recovering. The company would handle everything with the driver. He left with his usual commanding stride. I looked at Ryan, comforting her softly, telling her not to cry anymore. Once she's discharged, I'd sell her motorcycle, add some money, and buy a 4-wheeler to take her to and from work. How's that? I asked. She looked at me, eyes brimming with tears, wiped them with the blanket after a moment. Really, she mumbled, asking. I nodded. A gentleman's word is his bond. After she was discharged, I sold the bike, but kept the Pika-chesticard helmet. It had deep scratches, right on Pikachu's tail, making it look like he was shooting lightning. I bought a car to drive Ryan to and from work, and ended up doing so for over half a year. On Kixi Festival, Ryan shyly asked me if she could borrow 10,001 yuan. I asked if it was urgent, what it was for, when she'd pay it back, and why the odd amount. Her face turned bright red as she said she wasn't planning to pay it back. It was to be my dowry. The end.